Hi, so I did a lesson not too long ago on the Holy Ghost and how we all, well, part of the lesson was helping us to understand how we feel or integrate or understand the Holy Ghost within our own body. Because we talk about the Holy Ghost, it's very subjective, it's our own personal experience. It's really hard to describe that personal experience to somebody else. And I think it's also been described in many different ways. Um, I think I like to think of it as it's our spiritual sense. So for those who aren't from our faith, or understand it even, I like to think it's our spiritual sense, and it's actually not it's not something that in our current culture is really accepted as a legitimate way of knowing. Though I find it coming more back into our vernacular a little bit more in different ways. So some of the words that I kind of associate with the Holy Ghost would be energy. So it's an energy. It is intuitive, right? That intuitive thought, which I think is actually really a fascinating way of looking at the world, living intuitively. And I think scientifically we can look at how the brain works and find ways in which to actually scientifically talk about what intuition is and why it works. A lot of people equate it with emotions. Um, I don't know that I would say it's your emotions, but it's the communication from your body of what you are feeling and interpreting your emotions to be. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's not like, so if you feel angry, it's not necessarily that anger is the spirit talking to you or leaving you. I think sometimes in our culture, in the church, we talk about the spirit leaving you. Feeling anger isn't necessarily that it being gone. It's really about how we interpret the chemical processes that happen within our body. And it's a communication, right? So I like we've started learning a lot more about trees and how they communicate, and I think of the spirit a lot along those lines in terms of they're talking through chemicals, they're talking through fungi, they're talking through just different various communication channels. They're not using a voice, they're not hearing anything in that sense. So I think if the more we learn about how the trees are communicating, that aligns a lot more with how I would talk about the Holy Ghost or the Spirit communicating. It's our spiritual sense. It's our spiritual way of knowing. So I like to kind of like, in order to help even just me, but anybody to understand how that spirit may function in them and what it looks like or feels like or communicates, whatever that may feel like to you. If anybody's heard of a body scan, that's kind of what I find it a useful way to actually contemplate the spirit and what it is. So I just thought I'd do a quick body scan to work through the process of understanding, feeling, and kind of contemplating what the spirit may mean to you and how that feels. So if you want to go ahead and just find a quiet place to sit or lie down, you can do that. You can close your eyes and then just kind of take a few deep breaths. Just calming your mind, relaxing your muscles, kind of grounding yourself where you're at. And then I want you to contemplate the sensations that you're feeling in your body, maybe even the thoughts in your head. Kind of think about how the Holy Ghost communicates to you through these sensations. It may help as you're kind of continuing to do this deep breathing and relaxing to contemplate a time when you actually feel like you have felt the Holy Ghost. It may even be helpful to think of different times that the Holy Ghost has spoken to you in different ways. So I want you to start. We're going to do a body scan, which essentially is kind of a contemplative way of figuring out what our bodies are doing at any given moment. So start at the top of your head and kind of become aware of any sensations you feel there. And then just ask yourself, does the spirit feel present in this part of my body? Or is the spirit trying to communicate with me through this sensation? Think about what that may feel like. I contemplate our minds, how the spirit interacts with my thoughts. Kind of try and tease apart what may be a thought, what may be the spirit. Just ask yourself these questions. Kind of try and tease apart what may be a thought, what may be the spirit. Just ask yourself these questions. What is it that I'm feeling, thinking, understanding? Kind of move down to your forehead, your eyes and cheeks. Let everything relax. Continue to contemplate how the spirit may be communicating to you through these sensations. And because we're still kind of more in the head, kind of that contemplation of thoughts, ideas, the chemical processes that may go on within your brain that may indicate to you a way that the spirit speaks to you, the way that our spiritual sense communicates. Another important place that we begin to, I think, talk about the spirit is in the heart and the chest. So as you continue a focus down your body, pay attention to any sensations or feelings you may be experiencing within your heart or your chest. Kind of just reflect on these feelings or sensations. Ask again why you may feel them. But as we move away from the head and thoughts and ideas, and we're moving more into the heart space, start to move away from the ideas and thoughts and just move more into the feeling. Do you feel expansiveness? Do you feel tight? How does the spirit communicate to you through this part of your body? How are you feeling physiologically? There are chemicals speaking to different parts of our bodies, telling our bodies different things. So just kind of sit there and feel that physicality and what it may be trying to tell you. Again, trying to move away from thoughts, but just move into a very heart-focused space that's expansive. And then move down to, we don't talk about the liver much, but I know I have felt what I would deem a spiritual sense coming from there within Asian thought process. The liver is actually a very important part of our body in which in which energy moves through. So I would say it may help to consider sometime when you have felt sensations in this space. A dropping in the stomach, I think maybe sometimes, right, that kind of feel like rock is dropping. Tightness in the stomach. Again, an expansion within that area. And you're just paying attention to your body at this point. We get so caught up in our thoughts in our heads, we forget that we're attached to a body that actually is able to communicate with us. So just consider why and how the spirit may be communicating with you there. Tap into that spiritual sense, that intuitive space, the energy that you may feel moving through you. And then drop down into your legs and your feet. Something that to think about at this time, if you contemplate a whole body response from your skin, that sensation maybe of hair standing on end. I think sometimes people equate that with the spirit. Kind of contemplate what that meaning is beyond just the physiological meaning. Contemplate times when that may have been telling you something. about you, about your surroundings. And then take a few more deep breaths. Bring yourself back to your surroundings. And then maybe take this time to contemplate or write down any thoughts, feelings, sensations you may have had surrounding how the spirit may talk to you. It can look and feel like many different things in many different ways.